this will change who I am, and this will be just so sad, you know, to be discouraged at this point of letting our goals go away, you know. So I totally revealed my mask. I totally revealed my mask also for myself.
Wow.
Because I had never realized that before.
Zetra, you crazy?
Okay, so my first name is Aline, and actually my whole name is pretty short. It's just Aline Salomao. And I'm from Brazil, naturally from Campinas, São Paulo, and I still live and study here.
Okay, well, it's a pleasure to have you here today, Aline, and let's get the interview started. So, my first question for you is, what were your expectations of the Wyman experience? And, you know, like before going in, what were your fears? What were your preconceived notions? And what did you think you were going to get out of it just going in?
Okay, so basically I was afraid of not having a real rich experience because it is online. You know, I have attended one presential MUN, and it was an amazing experience because after the sessions, we all got together and we could go have lunch together and so on. And I was afraid of not being able to get to know people and not just delegates, because that was my intention, to get to know people from all over the world and not just delegates from all over the world.
Yes.
And in the beginning, I thought it wouldn't be possible because, I don't know, because we had our trainings and we weren't really interacting. But in the first session, our chairperson, he started introducing himself very informally and asked us to introduce ourselves too. And I thought this was just amazing because in other MUNs I attended, this never happened. And I think this is adaptation to the model UNs online, because we need to speak informally about ourselves to show we're not just delegates.
Exactly.
I'm not just a delegate of Chile. I'm Aline Salomao. And I thought it was really special. And through this week, we were able to talk a little bit more, especially in the end of the simulation, that we were all more comfortable with being there. We were getting used to each other, so it was pretty nice.
Yeah, that's a beautiful answer, and I can definitely relate to that because the personable experience from Wyman being online really gave us a chance to, you know, be at ease and not be too stressed out and try to put on a facade that we're these UN officials and we have to walk upright every meeting we're in. You know, that was great. So going deeper into your experience at Wyman, what was the purpose of even participating at Wyman? What was like the sole purpose and motivation for you participating?
Okay, so the most abstract motivation was that in the future I am thinking about maybe working for the UN and there's specialized agencies. But the most practical reason was that I wanted to make this quarantine work. You know, I wanted to make my quarantine special also. And if I just sit here and study and do the things for my university, I won't have a rich experience during this tough year. So it was a possibility for me to really get distracted with something else, not directly related to my university, to my course, and to get to know people and get to know, make some networking also with people that are already working for the UN. And in my university, I am engaged in an MUN project. And this year, we obviously had to make our MUN online. And we are not sure we will be able to make it presential next year because, as you probably know, the situation of coronavirus in Brazil is not going really well. So we are not sure if we will be able to go back to presential MUNs next year. So regarding our project, we thought it would be really nice to attend as many online MUNs as possible to get this rich experience and learn from them what worked really well, to implement this also in our own project of MUNs here in Brazil, in order for us to be able to offer the best MUN option for Brazilians also.
That's really important. A lot of people don't realize that once they experience something like the Model UN, that it's very important to share it amongst your peers, because a lot of people have interests and they don't know how to seek them, or hone the skills that are required to be at the position they aspire to be in. And just putting a lot of people on and educating people on the opportunities that you were able to partake in is very important. If you could solve one tragedy slash issue in the world that is most important to you, only one that is most important to you, I know there's so many, what would it be, and what would the preliminary steps be to resolve that issue, or what steps would you take to resolve that issue?
Okay, so there are many issues
I know.
concerned about them. So it's really hard to choose only one, but
Yes.
I'll try to choose the broad one that is very broad.
Very important and broad, yes.
Yes. So I think gender equality, because a lot of other issues, for example, issues of the world of work, the inequalities of the world of work, and access to education and access to quality health, they are very interconnected with gender issues also. And I am making an online course about international women's health and human rights. And we can see that maybe in our communities, in our small circle of friendships, we fortunately don't have contact to such inequalities, but in a global view, we can see that the gender issues are very interconnected to inequality and the access of many services that are necessary, that are fundamental in order for us to have our human rights respected.
Yes.
And so I think this will be the issue that I'm very concerned about. And the steps I would take to implement this would be I wouldn't have to go far. Here in Brazil, we have a lot of small communities in which we can see this gender bias very present. So I could, for example, create small projects that can grow with the time, but a small project in local communities in order to work on the empowerment of women here in Brazil, for example, and giving them equal access to education as men, and equal access to health products, because also women need certain products that men do not. And we still certain health products, for example. And we do not have, in many countries, we do not have access to it freely. We have to pay a lot for it, and we just need it because we're simply born women. And I don't think that's fair, because if we need it as a health condition for essentially being born women, we should have access to it for free. So I would create a project that works with issues related to this, I'd say.
That's great. That's a great response. And how does your environment around you and what's going on in your environment and location shape the way you think of these issues, or shape the way you think about what needs to be resolved in the world currently?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I live with a lot of people that are very engaged with global issues, and most of them, especially young people, recognize its importance and recognize that, for example, we live in Sao Paulo state, so we have a certain condition, but it's not the same condition as people living in the Amazon, for example.
Yes.
And we recognize these differences, and we recognize that issues that may seem solved here may not be really solved, just not as apparent as it was before. But in other parts of our country, in other parts of the world, these issues are still very, very present, and we need to recognize it and think globally that maybe uh, being a woman does not affect my health, for example, just talking about health, does not affect my health because I have a certain financial condition which allows me to live with quality health care. But in the next neighboring, for example, there may be women that do not have the same conditions as I do. And I think that people and my young people that live around me also agree with this point of view that many issues that we don't see much present here in our everyday life, they may be very present in other people's lives. Okay. But well, I'd say that older people may not be that open. I don't know about how it is where you live, but in Brazil, I'd say that there are many older people that are very open and they are adapting their mindsets, but there are still older people that are very conservative and don't recognize the issues we still have to struggle for, we still have to fight for. And they simply compare this to their condition in the past, and they say, oh, but a lot have already been achieved. Aren't you satisfied yet? Why aren't you satisfied yet? A lot of things have changed, but we need to focus on what has not been made yet, or what has not been made in a satisfying way yet, in order to improve it. Yes. Because yes, a lot of achievement has been made, but we need to improve it. So I think older people may not be as open as young people. I'm talking just about my experience, so in my circle of friendships.
I understand. So basically, you're saying you recognize your privilege where you're at in your community, and
totally,
see
yes.
in neighboring communities that they are in need of help, they're in need of change, and their rights still need to be fought for.
Yes. And it takes very long to change things, to actually change things, not just.
And not only does it take a long time to change things, but it takes a long time to see and feel the change as well.
Yes, indeed.
So, how does your perception of your environment and what's going on around you shape the way you view yourself? So, how does your environment shape the way you view yourself as a person in this world?
Okay. Well, I'd say I am just participating in many MUNs, and I'm very engaged, and I'm trying to get a lot of leadership skills and so on. And I'm dreaming about someday working for the UN, just because my local friendships and community allows me to, or something like that. They they encourage me of doing such things. Some people obviously may discourage me for plenty of reasons, but in general, I do have access to a quality education, and I do have good grades, for example, and this allows me to dream big. But if I um, lacked this access to education. For example, if I had to work and not just study, because I dedicate myself 100% to study and related activities and hobbies and so on. But if I had to work to help my family in our household, then I wouldn't have time. Even if I had this access, I wouldn't have time to be so dedicated and engaged in so many things as I am now. So I think all this privilege is what allows me to dream a little bigger. And I would love to be able to give some people this opportunity of dreaming a little bigger. You know,
That's beautiful. No, that's fine. I like that. So you're saying your privilege and your opportunity makes you want to give that opportunity back to those who don't have the privilege, so they can dream big.
Exactly, yes. Because, for example, talking about women in particular, many women do not even dream about a position in a leadership. They just simply accept the speech that they were not made for leading, because it's not common in Brazil. We're having elections this week, and for example, to my city, there is one female option. So we are very underrepresented, and as well as other minorities. So if we just do not have enough access to basic services for us to have our human rights protected as a whole and be able to dream as a person in our careers, for example, they will simply believe that they were not made for this, that they do not have the vocation for doing that. But it is not like this. If you had the access of learning, for example, leadership skills, of learning economy, of learning international relations, or studying for being a doctor, a good surgeon, then you would be able to have this perception that you are capable of doing things. But if we do not even have access to it, we will think that, oh, this is not for me, I'm not intelligent enough for that, for example. So and it is not true.
Exactly. So you're saying one's environment can shape the way they perceive their potential.
Yes, I believe this.
That's great. That was beautiful. And last question, just to dig deep, is if you have one fear, what is your greatest fear? It could be social, it could be personal. What is one of your greatest fears waking up that, that's on your mind when you wake up in the morning, or, that you try to fight or put to the side, like a fear you have?
I think I have a lot of fears, obviously. I'm a human being.
Yes.
But related to this perception or this point of view that the environment can help people achieve their goals or not, or prevent them from doing that, I'd say my biggest fear is to lose everyone who's supporting me today in the future, and having no one to have my back when I need, and no one believing on what I am capable of doing, and so on. So if certainly one day I wake up and no one ever believes I will be able to work for the UN someday, or everyone says I am not prepared enough or something like that, or not intelligent enough, and so on, then I would, at first I would not believe this, because previously I had the opportunity to have so many experiences that showed me that I am capable of doing a lot of things. But with the time, what could happen is that I start believing what they say. So, and I would be very discouraged, and I may change my plans because of this discouragement.
Mm.
So, and I that scares me a lot because I would be giving up my dreams because of that. So I would hate to lose everyone that really is supporting me financially, emotionally, and in many other ways. I would hate to lose them because they really support me and I really support them. And I think this is mutual and this is very necessary. We don't be successful by ourselves. We need a lot of support from others too.
Yes, yes.
And to learn from others, to help others, to get financial support and mental support from others also. And if we lose all that, we won't be able to achieve any success by ourselves. So this would be a nightmare for me, and this is a huge fear.
That's great. Well, it was a pleasure having this interview with you, and I hope you were able to reveal a part of your mask or your entire mask today and reveal yourself.
Yes, for sure, because I had never thought about my biggest fear. And I was talking about the support of others and the environment helping me achieve my goals. And I thought for some time, and I have never realized that this is such a huge fear I have, because this will change who I am, and this will be just so sad, to be discouraged at this point of letting our goals go away, so I totally revealed my mask. I totally revealed my mask also for myself.
Wow.
Because I had never realized that before, this huge fear I do have.
Yes. And I'm thankful to I guess facilitate that process, that's all I can say.
Zetra, you crazy.